One.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be here today. Thank you for taking the time to join us in this webinar. And today we're going to be talking about the introduction to QuickBooks. But before jumping into our topic for today, I'm going to share with you a little bit more about the Business Navigator program and how we can support you as a business owner through this initiative. My name is Yasnei Montalvo, and I will be your presenter today. I promise I'm going to jump into QuickBooks as soon as I'm done with this quick part of the presentation. So what is the Business Navigator program? And this is partially funded by the Small Business Administration. As a small business owner, you must be very aware of this program already and the support that the SBA has provided to the small businesses in this community and throughout the United States. This initiative specifically is focused on micro businesses, and I'll tell you more about what that means. The Community Navigator pilot program was established as part of the American Rescue Plan, and it's all as part of the pandemic. And you as a business owner know the struggle that we went through, and we're still recovering after this pandemic. So the SBA launched this initiative in order to support more of the underserved businesses in our community. The program is comprised of a lead hub, which encompasses it's leading by the Small Business Development Sector at FIU, but I'll be telling you more about the partners and how we can all benefit from this collaboration. This was a $100 million initiative. It was funded in total to 51 grantees, and Miami is proud to be one of those in order to support you. The goal of the Community Navigator program is to improve the long-term economic recovery and the resilience of small businesses. And the focus is in veteran-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, as well as socially disadvantaged and economically disadvantaged individuals. The program, as I mentioned, is comprised of a lead hub center, which in this case is the Small Business Development Center at FIU, but we work in collaboration with all of these organizations that you see here. Ascendos, branches, all of these organizations, in a way, they have our own niche and our own specific services, from lending to technical assistance to consulting on the specific areas. And you can all benefit from the collaboration and the combination of the services we provide as we're working together in this initiative. At the end, I will be sharing the specific sites and websites where you can learn more about the programs and register, and then take advantage of this. The coalition, as I met in this specific community, as part of this partnership, secured $2.5 million to Miami-Dade County. And we're very excited about providing this local support, specifically targeting minority-owned businesses, women, veterans, and the LGBTQ community. So today, I will be sharing more about QuickBooks. And the agenda for today, I'm going to give you a little bit overview of what are the versions, the different comparisons of this platform. What are the main features and tools that you can take advantage of? I'll be recommending specific resources, additional trainings. If you're implementing QuickBooks from scratch, I'll be giving a link so you can get a discount for the first year, and actually a whole free month so you can try the platform. And then I will give some time at the end to answer specific questions. First of all, I want to clarify what is the difference between QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop, all right? And very briefly, the online version, the type of license that you're purchasing is like if you're renting. It's like a lease, right? So it's a subscription model. Desktop, those of you that have used it in the past, we used to buy a CD and put it in the computer and then download the program like that. That has been changing. Actually, starting this year, they're also moving to a subscription, but it's gonna be yearly. It still has different features, but it's like if you're purchasing that license, you don't have to pay month to month. The beauty of QuickBooks Online is that you have remote access from the cloud, from any device, from any computer. You can log in, you can use your phone as a mobile app. It has automation in the transactions, because one of the main features of the online is that you can connect it to your bank account, right? So all of these transactions are coming automatically through whether you connect it to checking accounts, savings, credit cards, PayPal, whatever account you use. It brings the transactions and you don't have to enter the information manually. It allows you to classify the transactions there, do it in bulk, create rules, and save you a lot of time. With the desktop, that is available, but at an additional cost, and it's not as automatic. The downside, if you have used desktop in the past, is that QuickBooks Online only works for one company, one subscription per company. And I know in desktop, they have options to have multiple companies within one license. And the reality is, if you're dealing with a manufacturing business or a complex inventory management business, with QuickBooks Online, the functionality of it, it has to do through additional apps, right? That you can sync and connect. Desktop already has integrated more robust tools that help you with manufacturing and inventory. So this is, in a nutshell, what the difference is. I'm going to show you really quickly on the site. Today, we're going to be focusing on QuickBooks Online, right? I will be sharing, and here we'll give you an overview. Wait 1 second. I will be sharing the account and settings, how to build the chart of accounts, how to create the banking rules, the tax, how to use the receipts and all this through the application, the functionality of selling, creating estimates, creating invoices, adding customers, products, and services. All of these are things that you can do with QuickBooks Online. Expenses, accounts payable, accounts receivable, the projects, tagging, classes, locations. I'm gonna be telling you a little bit more about payroll, and you can integrate it with the QuickBooks Online payroll subscription, the cash flow, budgeting, and the business checking account for QuickBooks. And at the end of the day, the reason why we use this type of systems and we implement them is to get financial and managerial reports. So I'm gonna be walking you through how you can get those reports very easily once you have the information classified, and the beauty of making decisions based on the numbers, right? I am very hands-on with my teaching style, and if you don't know me, you're gonna get to learn that today. So my goal really is to take you into QuickBooks and show you how it's done, right? But before doing that, I want to give you an overview of what the different subscriptions are in the QuickBooks Online version. And with the simple start, you can do pretty much everything when it comes to tracking income and expenses, and doing the invoicing, accepting payments through the platform. And I'll be showing you how this works. But basically, QuickBooks Online gives you the ability that you can send your client an invoice via email or a link to the invoice, and At the click of a button, they can just pay and give them the option to pay with credit card or the checking account. So that is done even with the basic version. All of them will give you reports, but as you increase, then it has more options of the reporting. And the cash flow management, tracking the miles, even manage the 1099 contractors. So if you are paying subcontractors, this is something that you can do at the simple start level. When do you want to consider if you go to the next level? And I would say you have to keep in mind if you want multiple users, right? Because QuickBooks Online gives you the ability that you log in with your own email and your own password, and it has an audit log that I'll be showing you shortly. So pretty much it keeps track of who did what, when. And when you have a team of multiple people, and multiple people are gonna be working in QuickBooks in different aspects, you might want to separate those and keep track of what's happening. If you wanna pay bills directly from QuickBooks, they have an app and the functionality to pay your vendors directly. And then if you want to keep track of the time for your employees, for yourself, really, you can synchronize with time tracking. So those are the three main features that are additional at the essential level. When will you go to Plus? Really, one, if you manage inventory, and two, if you use projects or want to implement projects in order to keep track of your profitability. And I'll be showing you how that looks like. But pretty much projects is the ability to keep income and expenses per project, so you know the margin of that project. And it's very common when you provide, it really can be applied to multiple industries, and you want to know whether you're making money on that specific project. The advanced level has way more functions. I won't go into detail in the advanced version today, but I invite you to see the details if you go to the website. And again, if this is something you're implementing in your business now, wait until we share the presentation at the end, where you can get a link to get a discount for the first year and a month free in order to try. Perfect. So with that in mind, I'm going to go straight into the actual site. Let's see. These are some of the resources I'll be sharing today, but I'll be using this sample company, which I have here. And let me tell you, QuickBooks is the type of platform that continues evolving and making changes. When you create a new account now, it doesn't look like this. This is just a sample company, and it has the platform how it used to be in the past. But if you want to follow along this training in order to locate what to do and what to do, and you create a new account that looks a little different, you can always go to the gear icon and switch from business view to accounting view, and from accounting view to business view. Actually, they updated it here, so this is great. So this is how it's gonna look for you if you created a new QuickBooks, okay? The business view. And I, for purposes of this training, going to switch to accountant view, which you can also do in your own subscription. All right. So the idea of QuickBooks is to systematize your bookkeeping. And I'm just going to help you locate where things are and how you can use the features. And then if you need additional guidance with the implementation and when you're actually doing the work, of course, we're gonna be here to support you in the process through the Navigator program and our partners. So first of all, I want to you should be aware of what are the settings when you go to QuickBooks, right? Here, you can change your accountant settings. You can add your logo, change your name, the contact information. It will always give you the information of based on your subscription, what is your usage, how many users you have. Remember, based on the subscription, you might have 1, 3, 5, how many chart of accounts, how many tag groups, and I'll be telling you about tags shortly. You can change your sales settings, expenses, time tracking, and at the advanced level, whether you're using cash or accrual accounting, that's going to have an impact on how things are recorded in your QuickBooks. So I just want you to be aware that all of these automations and these settings can be found here in the gear icon, account and settings. Here's where you manage your users. So if you have just one, that's perfect. You will be automatically the one user for your account. But if you want to add more people, more members of your team, you can always add them here. And also a very cool feature is that you can add your accountant or whoever you're collaborating with to support you in this process. Every QuickBooks subscription has up to 2 accountant users, okay? And here you just need to put the email address of your accountant. And this saves you the headache of having to share with your accountant, okay, here is my login, here is my password. They will have access to your QuickBooks through their QuickBooks Online account, okay? So this is the users. In custom form and styles, you can always change the default settings of that QuickBooks is giving you. And this is for your invoices, your sales receipts. You can add your logo, you can change your colors, you can change your content and see, you know, whether you want to include the email or not, whether you want to include the address, the phone number. All of this is customizable. And this is how your form is going to look when you are sending an invoice on a sales receipt for a client. All right, whether you want to add here the options to collect a deposit, whether you're collecting a portion of your estimate, all of this is customizable. And as I mentioned, you can send this via email. You can send your customers your invoice or your sales receipt via email. And here you can customize how it looks like. Customize the message and just have it in automatic. When you send it, you could always add something more personal if you want something that relates to the client. But this is the automatic message. And whenever you send a reminder, you could also customize it here. All right, so I'm going to exit this without saving. The chart of accounts is the skeleton of your accounting system. All right, and let me repeat this. The chart of accounts is the skeleton of your accounting system. And this is where at the beginning, or even if you already are using QuickBooks, we try to pay close attention to make sure that this is set up correctly, okay? As you can see, you can access the chart of accounts from the gear icon or directly here, accounting, and it will take you to your chart of accounts. This is what is tied to the transactions that are going to come from the bank. This is what's going to be reflected in your financial reports. Main reports we're going to cover today, profit and loss and balance sheet. Okay, so it's extremely important to align this to the way you want your business to keep track of your numbers. And if you notice in this company, this sample is like a landscaping business, and it is not like it's a landscaping business for purposes of the sample. And It starts with the bank accounts. These are gonna be the ones that are connected. If you have receivables, the money is gonna continue accumulating here. It's gonna show you report. What are your assets? So right now it's organized by type, right? You could organize it by name if you click at the top of the column, and it does it in alphabetical order. And that way you kind of can go through it, right? What do I want to leave you with when it comes to creating and editing your chart of accounts? Every account you can edit through here. You can make inactive if you're no longer using it. And in QuickBooks Online, making it, the functionality is make it inactive because it doesn't get erased forever. If you have data there that you have used in the past, but you're no longer using this account, it's going to still be in your books. It's going to show in the report for that time period. But you can always make it inactive here if you don't want to see it in the list anymore. And you can run a report directly from that account, meaning that if you want to know specifically, you come to your chart of accounts and you want to know, okay, how much have I spent in, or how much income have I had from job materials? You can always run a report directly from here. And it's going to give you the transactions that have been tied up to that account. So before I go into transaction classification and how it all ties together in order to give you accurate reports, I want to show you that here is where you create a new account. You have to choose the type of account, where is bank, income. These are the most common ones. If it's a cost of goods, because it's the cost directly associated with you providing that product or that service, or if it's an expense. And whatever you choose here, then it's going to give you another list with the detail type, which you choose whatever is closer, and then you can change the name. I'll give you an example. Here they have an expense account for automobile, okay? And it has a sub account for fuel, so that we keep track of the gas. But you know what? I want to keep track of how much I'm spending in parking. So in that case, I want to create a parking account under automobile. And I'm going to walk you through this exercise so you can see how you can create accounts and sub accounts and then work on your QuickBooks like that. So I'm going to go to a new account. This is an expense. This is an auto expense, but I'm going to call it parking. And I want this expense to be a sub account of the current account that's there called automobile. All right. So here, this is how it looks now. I have automobile, I have fuel, I have parking. And why do I want to be specific like this? And I encourage you to be as detailed as you want to be, really. The way that's going to help you make business decisions. The way you structure your accounts is the way it's going to look in your reports. And if you put everything under more sales and marketing, for example, you will see I'm spending this much in sales and marketing. But if you create sub accounts and you say, okay, this much money I'm spending on social media, this much money I'm spending on the website. Now we're talking. Now we can compare. Now we can strategize on how we're going to budget for marketing expenses in a more detailed way. So this is why this feature of creating sub-account is so helpful for income and for expenses. If you notice here, the way they structure the income, they have landscaping services, and within that they have job materials, and then they have what is the income for each specific material that they service, okay? So this is extremely important for us to invest the time, the energy, the effort to get it right. And if you need assistance, of course, we're here to support you. The beauty of this is that QuickBooks connects to the bank, as I mentioned. So here in banking, it's going to give you the bank accounts that you connected with. You can always link a new account. It's going to prompt you to search for the financial institution where you have your account. And pretty much it's going to walk you through the process to sign in. You're going to put the same username and the same password that you used to log in to your bank. Okay? That is going to prompt you to certain steps to bring the transactions up from a specific period of time. I want to share that the fact that you're linking your QuickBooks to your bank account doesn't mean there is access to your bank through QuickBooks. It's just to bring your transactions, okay? And whenever you change your password in the bank, it might give you an alert message here saying, hey, you have to update it, and then you update the password that time, and it's gonna continue feeding you QuickBooks with the bank transactions. And the beauty of this is the automation. Now, look at this example from this sample company. It's bringing transactions as they come to the bank. You can always check here in the gear icon. And some of the cool things that I use, and I'm going to give you these shortcuts, when you have multiple transactions to catch up, when you have to, maybe you open your QuickBooks now and you're trying to do your taxes, so you have to classify all transactions from 2021, or you just fall a little bit behind, which happens, and you have to get up to date. What I do is come here in banking to the gear icon and activate grouping, right? Turn on grouping. What this does is that when you click at the top of the column, it's gonna group them by date. So you see you have all January, February, that's fine. But when you have to catch up, I group them by description, all right? And what it does is in alphabetical order, it's just gonna group similar accounts based on the description. So you have all these 3 transactions from rental. I can click at the top of it, update them all at the same time. I choose the payee. Let's say I'm going to add a rental as a vendor. So I can add them on the fly, click vendor, save. And this category is linked to the chart of accounts I just went over, okay? So this is where I want you to see the connection. You're going to classify transactions based on the list of your chart of accounts. And if you don't have the account created, you can add it right here, and it's gonna take you to the same window that I just walked you through, right? So let's see if they already have an account for rental. Let's just put it as equipment rental for now. If you have it tied to a specific project and you want to keep track of your expenses per project, it's going to give you the option here to choose which project it belongs to or which customer it belongs to, so you can know where the money is going, and then apply and accept. When you do this, QuickBooks tends to prompt you, do you want to create a rule? Why? Because they recognize you have multiple transactions, same vendor. It might be something recurring. And this is very helpful for recurring transactions. So if you don't want to create a rule, you can always say no. But if you do, let me walk you through what the rules is all about in order to put your bookkeeping in autopilot. Okay, so this was equipment rental. So I'm gonna call this rule a rental equipment. You can call it whatever you want. But what you're telling QuickBooks is every time there is money out from this account, and you can choose multiple accounts in case you use different accounts for the same type of expenses, but you choose the account here, and the description or the bank text is more The difference between description and bank text is that the description is the condensed version that QuickBooks brings, but you could always use the bank text, and that's how the memo looks like. So I'm telling QuickBooks, if the description contains a rental, another rule that you can create is based on the amount, which doesn't apply here. But let's say that you have a specific expense that you always pay the same amount, and you want to create the rule by the amount. Sometimes that works. Most common is by description. Okay, so these are the factors. When the money is coming out from the checking account, the description contains this. Then I want you to put it as an expense. I want to, yeah, and you see QuickBooks already give you the prompts because we are following the suggestion, right? But if not, you can always fill in the blank with this information. The category is going to be equipment rental. The payee is going to be a rental. And I want you to automatically add it to my books. What this does is that going forward, every time there is a transaction coming in with this this prompts is coming to categorize. So you see, for review, you have this many transactions. Once you classify them, whether it's one by one or in bulk, you then gonna see them here in categorize. Okay, and in case you excluded a transaction, then it shows here. I don't suggest you to exclude transactions unless there is real duplication in your books, which is not common. If for some reason you use your account, which this is not best practice, but if for some reason you had a personal expense and you think, that shouldn't be business, that's personal, do not exclude it. We want to use an account that is going to be here in QuickBooks, and let's pretend this was a personal expense, right? So the category that you're gonna use for that is whether it's owner's compensation or owner's pay and personal expenses. There is not an account created for that, but you can always add it. This is considered an equity account. And let's see, you see they have partners distribution, they have owner's pay and personal expenses. You want to put it in the right account. Do not exclude it, because then the bank reconciliation is not going to work. So this is one of the best features of QuickBooks Online on how you can bring the transactions from the bank, how you can automate transactions, how you can create rules, and how you can pretty much, do your bookkeeping in autopilot with this feature as fast as possible, saving you time. All right, I'm gonna take a couple of, okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. I'm gonna leave the questions at the end, but I encourage you, as I go through this information, if something comes up, feel free to put it in the chat when you think of it, because maybe at the end you might have forgotten. And if I respond the question later on, that's fine. We will address it, but feel free to post your questions as I go, so I'm able to address them. Because if I'm already in that part and explaining, I will just go ahead and answer the question. All right, so this is banking. If you notice in banking, you can see app transactions. This is something new that QuickBooks implemented. And if you have a sync with Square and with other, merchant service, it's not going to be mixed here in banking. It's gonna come here. Here is gonna be your list of rules. If you notice, the one that I just created is showing here. And as you create more, you can find the rules and you can edit your rules if things changes. You can disable them, you can delete them. Here are the tags. And tags is a very amazing feature in order to get more insights in your data. For example, if you want to keep track, and this they give you an example of a studio that provides yoga classes and aerobics and different classes, right? All the income is coming from the classes that you're doing. But if you want to know, okay, how much is yoga versus aerobics, then you create a tag. This helps also for teams that have different sales representative, for example, and you want to be able to tag the transactions and say, okay, this is coming from this agent, and then give a tag for different sales agent. It just gives you better reporting so you can make business decisions accordingly. And again, this is in banking. When you go to tags, you can always create a new tag group or just directly a tag. And let's pretend I'm gonna put my own name. Just name. I didn't create the group, but that's fine. This is with the sample company, sometimes it doesn't work. So let's start with the tag group. And this is for her sales representative. No, the feature doesn't seem to be working on the sample company now, but it's okay. I just want you to get this idea that with tagging, you can, instead of creating chart of accounts for each sales representative, for example, that's not what we want. And we don't want to put them as vendors or customers either, because they're part of our team, but you can always tag them. And when you go to banking and you classify transactions, you're going to notice that when you categorize them, you can choose your tag here, the same way you choose your customers and projects. All right. So, and the last tab here in banking is the receipts. The beauty of this is that you can take pictures of the receipts from your QuickBooks Online app, and it will automatically bring them here, and it's going to show them a list for review, right? So you can match your receipts with the specific transaction that you're categorizing, right? If you have an expense that for some reason you pay cash, you want to take a picture of that receipt and then enter them in QuickBooks as a cash expense, but then you have the documentation. And this is so important for small businesses, because I want you to realize that using your bank statement and seeing that the transaction says Home Depot, for example, is not enough information in case of an audit, right? You could have bought the supplies for the job. If you're in construction, for example, in Home Depot, you could have bought a patio set for your house. How do you know what you bought? And it's based on the receipt, right? So if you get an audit in the future, the receipt is what's going to support the fact that this is a deductible expense. And the receipts now, they get erased. It's not safe anymore to put them in your shoebox. So this is an extremely important tool that you can use to keep track of the receipt and even attach them to the corresponding transaction. So in the future, every transaction can have the receipt attached. From the app, they come here. If not, you can upload them from the computer, from Google Drive. And even here, it doesn't show, but you can create an email that then every time you forward a receipt to the email, it automatically comes here. It's like a specific design email for QuickBooks and your company. So I spend most of the time here in banking because I consider it's one of the best features of the online version in order to automate this process. Okay, so now I'm just going to walk you through the other features of QuickBooks Online so you have an idea of what it can be done. All right. So, of course, when you go to sales, from here, you can see all your selling transactions. You can go specifically for your invoices, and it gives you a status of whether the invoice is open, paid, deposited, overdue. You can create an invoice from here and then specify the customer, the product or service that you're providing, and you can create your list of product or services. Whether it's directly from this list, if not, I will show you where to find it. You can add the description, and then let's pretend I'm gonna choose one of these services, landscaping per hours, and let's say you have an hourly rate of 150, and then it does the math automatically. If you wanna put a discount, I encourage you to put it here as a discount instead of just discounting the service rate, because it's important for the client to realize I'm giving you a special discount. So this is a feature that I encourage entrepreneurs to use if you're providing a discount. And then you can put like a additional message here. And as I told you, you can save the invoice and close it, or you can save it and send it or share the link, right? And that is going to allow you to send it via email. Of course, it's going to require you to enter the customer email here. So invoicing is extremely valuable, because then you can not only see what the status of the money you have to collect. There is nothing more sad than you do all the work and you're working very hard to run your business, and then you forgot to collect the money because you're all over the place and you don't know what the money is in the street. So this will help you organize this. And something that I love is when you open the invoice, and it might not show here because this is a sample company, right? But here, imagine, because this is a feature, it does give you the history of what happened with the invoice. Meaning, you send the invoice, the client view the invoice, and it tells you every time the client view your invoice because you're sending it via online. This is very, I call it in Spanish el chismoso, no? Because now you can follow up with your receivables, and if the client is telling you, oh, no, I never received the invoice, I haven't seen it, come on, I see you see it, right? So this is extremely useful for that, so you can keep track of and get your money. And another feature here is, of course, each invoice or sales receipt is tied to your list of products and services, and your list of products and services is tied to your chart of accounts. And let me explain you this in a way that let's pretend I'm going to create a new service, right? You put the name, you put the category. It will always ask you, what is the income account that belongs to that service? And if you have multiple, if you're creating a service for pest control, you want to link it to an income account that's called pest control. So this is very important, because then you might ask, well, I have all these services. It doesn't mean you're going to create an income account for each specific service, but I guess you can group them in categories, okay? So this is very important. And as you notice, depending on your subscription, you can create inventory, non-inventory, meaning that you're selling products but you're not keeping track of inventory, service, or you can even create a bundle and set it up like that. So this is when it comes to products and services, all the sales features, and how you can manage them in QuickBooks. There's one thing I want you to be aware of, and this is one of the common mistakes that I see in QuickBooks Online users. When you create an invoice, right? And the invoice, you're gonna come here and you're gonna say, okay, I received payment of that invoice. You don't wanna put it directly to your checking account, all right? You want to use your undeposited funds account, or in new QuickBooks accounts, they call it payments to deposit. Why? because on the accounting world, the way this is set up is, let's pretend you got your check, and well, I mean that now things are more automatic, but from the accounting standpoint, every deposit should go to undeposited funds, and when it gets deposited in the bank, now from here you're going to match it to the specific transaction. Okay, so if you notice, QuickBooks recognizes here, hey, there is one match found. Most likely this was a deposit that was already done in the invoice. It was put in undeposited funds, and now QuickBooks can find the match. If you don't do this and you put it there in the checking account, and then you come here and you put it, yeah, this was sales, so I'm gonna put it as a sales of product income, there is going to be duplication. The money is gonna show twice in your revenue. And then you might wonder why your bank is not reconciling. So this is very, very important. If you have done it like this before, it's okay. It can be solved, but I want you to understand the root of the problem. All right. So this is when it comes to sales. On the expenses side, you can create the expense directly here if you had a cash expense, for example. But for the most part, you're going to be classifying your expenses through banking, and you're just going to choose the category, the type of expense, and then they're going to show here. This list shows after they have been classified in banking. All right. So that's an option, but keep in mind, if you still use cash for some reason, you can always enter the expense manually, whether it's on the site or through the app, and then choose that you're using cash on hand account, which in this case, you might need to create a new account, put bank, cash on hand, and then manage your cash like that. All right. What are some of the other cool features that I just want to point out, because this is the type of trainings that in detail, when it comes to showing you the how, can take hours and multiple sessions, but at least this gives you an overview of the functionality. Projects. I spoke about projects. For some reason, this sample company is not going to allow me to do it. Let's see if you refresh. No, that's fine. All right, so just keep in mind that the projects, what it does is let's pretend you are in the construction industry, right? And you are doing the renovation of a hotel and a restaurant. Well, you want to keep track of those separately, right? All the invoicing, the estimates, the expenses of one project, you're going to keep track here and then allocate it accordingly. And it's going to give you a profit and loss per project. It's going to give you the profit margin per project. The sample company, unfortunately, is not allowing me to show it to you today, but I want you to be aware of this feature. Payroll, if you have, where is? Well, in this case, the QuickBooks Payroll subscription is a separate subscription. Keep that in mind. What I showed you at the beginning was the accounting subscription. But if you want to add payroll, it's going to prompt you to subscribe for payroll services. The retail price of payroll, and with the link that I'll be sharing, you could also take advantage of the discount for a year. But it's about regular price, the payroll core, which works for most of the businesses. The basic payroll is about $45 as of today. Things might change, but I want you to be aware that payroll pretty much takes care of all the work for you. It takes some time to set it up with your employees, the bank account, the deductions that you have to put for the employees. If you're paying yourself as a business owner, as an employee, you have to put the information, but the subscription is going to cover the cost of and the work of sending your taxes to the corresponding agencies, sending the paperwork. You're gonna get the W-2 in the mail at the end of the year. So that's pretty much the service that you're paying for. And it can be done with a payroll subscription. When you do taxes, whether you're charging sales taxes, depending on your business, here is where you're gonna see or connect, set up your sales taxes. It's gonna give you the options to see the reporting, to mark when you pay your sales taxes, and the same with your payroll taxes whenever you have your QuickBooks Online payroll subscription. Let me show you here really quickly the Audit Log, which is one of the cool features about QuickBooks Online. And this is why I told you that it keeps track of all the activities, really. If you notice, here is a sample company, but it tells you when they log in or out and what is the specific edits that they did in the account. Again, what I call extras in Spanish. All right, so I want to take the last few minutes to walk you through how you can run reports in your QuickBooks, which at the end of the day is what we want when we're keeping track of it, right? In order to get accurate reports, it's not only important to classify your transactions from banking, but also reconcile your accounts. And the reconciliation process is separate from classifying. Reconciliation is when you come here and you tell your QuickBooks, okay, let me match what I have in QuickBooks with my bank statement. And based on your bank statement, you put the ending balance, the ending date is going to, let me see if it allows me to do it in this sample company. Let's pretend. And when you click Start Reconciling, it's gonna bring all the transactions that pretty much you have classified or entered manually in your QuickBooks. And here is where you have to just review it. This is a way to check if you're doing things correctly. If you classify them correctly, it's a final look. But most importantly, there shouldn't be a difference in here. When you choose all the transactions for that time period, right? You're gonna choose them like that. Most likely they're gonna be marked already if you're using QuickBooks Online. But if not, this is how it's gonna look. So you're gonna review your bank statement compared to here. If everything is here selected and you have additional transactions that are not in your bank, there's something we have to work on in order to fix that difference, okay? And this is where you notice if there's duplication, if you didn't match the deposit with the other invoice and now it duplicated invoice, it duplicated the revenue, or if you put the wrong transaction in the wrong account. This is the final step so you can get accurate reports in your reconciliation process, and you do it in a monthly basis. And with this, once your accounts are reconciled month by month, then we're able to look at the reports, right? Two basic reports, and you know that QuickBooks gives you a lot of options with the reporting. You can see your profit and loss by customer, by tag group, if you're using tagging, by month, by summary. If you can see how much money you have in the street, how much time it's been now, what are your open invoices. It has all type of reports for you to analyze. On the sales side, on the expenses side, what you owe, who owes you, and it's very detailed. And this is the beauty of having this type of systems, right? Even if you come here to your basic profit and loss, you can choose, okay, I want to see it. Let's pretend I want to see it this year, right? But then I don't want to see the totals only. I want to see this year by month. And I want to compare month to month. How am I doing, right? And You can choose whether you want the active. Normally it comes active rows like this. This in case you have lines that have a 0, you can choose non-zero, but normally this is the active rows that's going to show. And what that means is that if there was activity in this row for that time period, you can compare to other periods. You know, if you're comparing a month to another month, year to year, the comparison by amount, by percentage, and you can run your reports in cash or accrual accounting. So when you have that, you can run the report. And right now we don't have enough data because this is a sample company, it's a brand new year, but you see how it shows you, well, it shows this year. Let me see if we have something for last year. Then I'm wrong. Let's see, not much data in the sample company anyways, but here it gives you the idea of how you can see the full income and expenses in a very detailed way. Okay, let me go back to this year. Not only income by accounts, sub accounts, this is all tied to how you set up your chart of accounts, but the expenses, right? So the beauty of this is that you can play with it. You can see the report and display by vendor. You can display by customer, by product, by service. It's amazing what you can do with it. And you can save the customization. So if it's a report that you run often, you can always save it, put the name, and see, let's say I put profit and loss monthly, I save it, and then now in my reports, it's gonna show here where it says custom reports. So I can have custom reports for things that I look at often and just have it saved so I don't have to customize it every time. That is with the profit and loss. And lastly, the balance sheet, which is gonna give you the balance of your assets, your liabilities, your equity. This is kind of an accounting one-on-one class if you need to get deeper understanding of these subjects. But with reconcile accounts, you're gonna have an accurate balance sheet and understand where you stand as of that day. This is what shows how much money you have in the bank, how much cash you have on hand, how much inventory you have, what is the balance of your loans, very important. And those of you that got loans recently and as part of this pandemic, this is important for you to show and report accordingly. And it's gonna show these balances in your balance sheet. So how do you get these reports? You gotta do the work. You gotta connect it to the bank. You gotta classify the transactions. You gotta reconcile your accounts. And then we get the beautiful reports that we need for your taxes and that we need to get access to capital and just to analyze and make business decisions based on numbers. All right. So I think we're at the top of the hour, and I'm going to, if the rest of the panelists are fine, to stay a few more minutes in case there are questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time. Let me go back to the presentation, which we will be sharing, but I just want to point out really quickly that there is a complete course on QuickBooks on the library system that you can have access to for free with your library card. There are some tutorials that I personally recorded in English and in Spanish, like 5 minutes tutorials. So to show you the how of each one of these subjects that I covered today and walk you through step by step, and you can find it in this side. This is the link to the QuickBooks discount that I mentioned. And you can always play around with QuickBooks using the sample company that I was using today. And this is the link to the QuickBooks sample client. And here is the information that I'm going to leave open for you to reach out to us if you want to get additional support in this subject. I'm gonna leave this slide open while I look at the chat and see if there's any specific question.
Yes, Nate, there is a question in the chat. It's from Amalene Munoz. It says, hi, can I do my payroll with QuickBooks or I need to keep my payroll company?
You really have the option, right? If you're happy with your payroll company and you can bring, and we have to see which company is and if we can synchronize it with QuickBooks, so at least your accounting is up to date and you don't have to do many adjustments at the end of the year. That's an option. Or if you do it with QuickBooks, the beauty is that everything is already synced, right? So because it's integrated in your accounting system, it makes your accounting a little bit more smooth. But it really depends on which company you use because some of them connect with QuickBooks seemingly through an app. It's an option. I think what you should consider is the convenience, the cost, and the time that it might save you by you using QuickBooks if everything is synced. All right. Gusto is a great company. I've heard very good things about Gusto. Honestly, if you're happy with it, all we have to compare is price. And if you're already bringing this data from Gusto seemingly, so it shows in your report your payroll costs, your taxes, and your liabilities. Okay, so we could find a way to synchronize it if you're happy with Gusto. All right. If not, we could always make the switch, but we will need to analyze the pros and cons. And I see Crystal asked earlier, oh, that was at the beginning, are you going to do a more in-depth class? We could always schedule a more in-depth class. There is always more to dig deeper into QuickBooks. That would be more for intermediate or advanced students that are already using it, and they might have more specific questions on how to fix things, or the intention of this class was to be an introduction, but that's a very good question, Crystal, and I think it's going to be valuable for us to be deeper with the right audience. So thank you for your question, and we'll plan accordingly to serve you with that. What I encourage you to do in the meantime, if you have more in-depth questions, reach out to us, go to the website, register for the program, and they can connect you either with me or any other consultant that has the QuickBooks expertise to guide you one-on-one. That's what we do best. So we provide you with the technical assistance to solve your problems specifically. All right, so if there's any other question. Jesus, I think I don't see you muted, but I see you vocalized.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Technology. I want to introduce Clementina Valladares from Startup FIU Procurement, and she could talk more about Startup FIU Procurement, what services they could provide, and how they could also assist your small business needs as well.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for connecting to this wonderful and very informative workshop on behalf of the Miami-Dade Navigator, powered by SBA, and Startup FIU Procurement. We thank you very much. And a little bit about Startup FIU Procurement. We are a program that we provide technical assistance to a small business in our community with the sole purpose of helping you to move forward your business. We provide this technical assistance through two different channels. One is through an incubator program, which is a curriculum set to be delivered within 10 weeks of timeline, and through workshops like this with the Miami Navigator powered by SBA. We also, you can contact us. You can register through the link that Jesus shared at the beginning of the workshop. And, if you would like to get more assistance from us, and also, through this program, you have the availability to not only learn how to move forward your business, utilizing business strategies, business innovations, techniques using, in the marketing area, in the finance area, but it also is a good way to network. So we are here to support you in every possible way that we can assist you. That's the purpose for us to be here. We are here for you. And please do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be gladly and very happy to assist you.
Thank you, Clementina. And once again, the webinar is recorded. It will be uploaded at our YouTube channel, and also the presentation will also be emailed to you. So I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar, and we'll be in communication for any assistance that you may need. Like I said, we're family. We'll be more than happy to assist you. So thank you for attending, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.